If you asked me 6 months ago if I was going to take a Disney cruise, I would have said no way. Disney have always been out of my budget, and to be honest, I never was one of those little girls that wanted to be a princess. I only watched The Lion King for the first time in 2020, but I love cruising, and everybody I know who's taken a Disney cruise tells me that I need to try it, so I have found a way. I'm definitely a budget cruiser, and booking a Disney cruise on a budget is not easy. There's a few things I've done though to try and reduce the cost as much as I can. Disney are actually a relatively small cruise line. They have less than 3% market share, but I'm sure that you know, or you are somebody who loves Disney cruises. The food, the service, it's all been really hyped up to me over the years, but is it going to be that amazing experience for me? At the moment, I'm not sure. Most of my Disney cruise knowledge comes from my friends Sean and Steph. They've cruised on the Disney Magic and live and breathe Disney. I still have these ideas in my mind though, that there's going to be kids screaming everywhere, that there's going to be Mickey Mouse constantly making noise in my ear, and I'm just not sure yet. I've been cruising since I was a child, but Disney are very different from every cruise line that I've cruised on before. Of course, they have the Disney branding, they have the rights to the Disney music, the Disney shows, and the Disney characters, but they also don't have quite a few things that most other cruise lines do have. Disney don't have any drinks packages at all on any of their cruises ever. As far as I can work out, there are soft drinks included with meals, and there's a soda machine on the pool deck, so I'm sure I will be totally fine with that. I'm definitely going to be trying to cut costs when I'm on this cruise, considering how much it has cost me. So the free soda, I will be there quite a lot on this cruise. Disney also don't have any casinos on any of their ships. I'm the type of person who maybe gambles £10 per cruise, so the fact that there are no casinos, that doesn't bother me at all, but I do know people who wouldn't consider cruising on a ship if it didn't have a casino. Disney are of course a family cruise line. There's going to be a lot of children on board. I know a lot of adults that love cruising with Disney without children, but I can understand why they don't have casinos on their ships. It's definitely not a deal breaker to me, and a lot of the more luxurious cruise lines like Viking, they don't have casinos either. It's just the big kind of mainstream and budget cruise lines that have these huge casinos. One thing that I'm really interested to try is what Disney call rotational dining. It's basically each night you will move to a different main restaurant. They have 3 kind of main restaurants on board, and as far as I can tell, your waiters move with you. So you pretty much pick up everybody and just move them to a different restaurant each night. Never seen that before on a cruise. Really interested in how that works. They do have a couple of specialty restaurants, but they don't have kind of the big brands that you would know from land, because the restaurants are just Disney's brand. You can't really get a much bigger brand than Disney itself. This all sounds great, and I definitely have wanted to cruise with Disney for years, but it's never fit in with my budget or really my schedule. But this summer, something very different has happened, and I feel as though the universe has put this opportunity in my way to do a Disney cruise. I think this is my chance. So I have booked one. Here in the UK, we're doing a summer season of British Isles cruises, which means that I can take a Disney cruise without having to fly over to the US. You occasionally get Disney cruises here in Europe, but they're mostly in the Caribbean. Disney have their own private island there. And to see one sailing from the UK on short itineraries, we haven't seen that before. So I'm feeling very lucky that we've got one ship here this summer. Disney Cruise Line were created in the late 90s, and so was the ship that I'm going to be sailing on. I'm sailing on the Disney Magic, which is the oldest cruise ship for Disney, but how lucky we feel just to have a Disney cruise ship here this summer. Could be any ship, I do not mind. Before Disney Cruise Line were founded, they did actually have talks with Carnival and Royal Caribbean. That didn't work out, so Disney decided to create their own cruise line. But things could have been very different. I am definitely a budget cruiser, and I do not try and hide that fact. Cruising on a budget just means that I can cruise more and I can go further, and I think that that's a good thing. If you're watching this though, you may be wondering, how did Emma, this budget cruiser, book a Disney cruise? Well, there's a few things that I've done to make this cheaper. The first is I'm doing something that I've never done before, and that is that I'm cruising from a different cruise port, not my local cruise port. The closest cruise port to me here in England is Southampton on the south coast, but cruising from Southampton with Disney was more expensive than any other port, so I'm travelling to a different port. Even incorporating the cost of travel, it's going to save me hundreds of pounds. The second thing I'm doing, and I know this isn't going to work for a lot of people, but I'm not bringing any children with me on this Disney cruise. I do have 2 little nieces, they would love a Disney cruise, and I do feel like a bad auntie, but there is just no way in the world that I could afford to take them on this Disney cruise. I'm also cruising out of the school holidays because it's much cheaper than the school holidays for obvious reasons. So I just can't. I'm sorry to my nieces, but I just cannot. I also wonder a little bit, my nieces have never been on a cruise before, and would I want to start them out with a Disney cruise? Probably not. I'm sure that they would like an MSC cruise, they would like a Marella cruise, and I could get an MSC cruise for all of us for the price of just me on a Disney cruise. So, sorry kids, but this is an adult-only cruise for me. If you do have kids and you do need to stick to the school holidays, it's definitely worth looking at your beginning and end weeks of the summer. Different schools will have slightly different holidays and different countries will too. So it may be that if you're going somewhere, that place is still in school and you're off, so you can get slightly cheaper rates. It's definitely worth looking at it. I have of course booked the cheapest cabin on the ship, and I had to kind of look at this cruise for a while. Disney lets people put a hold on their cabin without actually booking it, and that meant that when I originally looked at booking, there were no insides, there were no ocean views because everybody had holds on them. When people had to actually book, a lot of those became available again. My agent messaged me and we saw that there was an ocean view available, and I have booked that. The ocean view was the same price as the inside, so that's why I'm treating myself to an ocean view. And I haven't picked the specific cabin location because that was slightly cheaper. There are definitely some cabins that are better and some that are worse, but I always go for the option of not picking my specific location. I've had cabins above the theatre, below the pool deck, every bad location, and to me it's always been worth the price saving. If for some reason you need to be in a specific part of the ship, by all means book that location, but if you're like me and you don't really mind, definitely consider saving the money. It can be quite a lot. Also, cruising from the UK means that I don't have any flights or any hotel or any travel costs like that. That's another reason why I haven't cruised with Disney before, because I'd have to normally fly to the US, stay in a hotel, and it's already an expensive cruise. So I thought, this is my chance. It is here. Disney has come to me for a change, and I'm gonna go on the cruise. In total, I paid £723 for a 3-night Disney cruise, which is just over $1,000. That is just for me. Normally, I would expect to pay around £100 per night for a cruise, and this one comes out over £200 per night, but that is the Disney price. And I do have to add gratuities on top. I'm not planning on really spending any extra money on board, and I really feel like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. When you have the Disney brand, you can pretty much charge anything that you'd like. Disney cruises don't really go on sale because they always sell out. They're very, very popular. Earlier in the year, we lost my lovely friend Sean. He passed away from cancer, and he was the biggest Disney fan I've ever met in my entire life. He lived, he breathed, he worked for Disney, and him and Steph did take a cruise on the Disney Magic. I can hear him still on my shoulder. He would definitely tell me, life is too short, Emma. Don't worry about the money, just book the Disney cruise. So I have booked the Disney cruise. You need to watch these videos next. These are the videos that my friends Sean and Steph recorded on board the Disney Magic. This is what I expect my Disney cruise to be like, and it just watch this.